Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. It's time for another live stream. Today is Saturday, September 26th, 2020. Again, I almost kind of like messed up the year. I don't know what's been going on with that. Like, my brain doesn't want to say 2020. That's just kind of weird. It's like a weird stutter I'm developing. I don't know. I want to say it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it kind of makes a lot of sense. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Let's see. Who do we have here? We got Luis Becerra here, Rain Runner, Eric DeRed, Bert Legues, Tony Macias. Awesome. Good to see everybody. Frank LeHoulier says, World's Greatest Training Program, beat your marathon personal best by 26:30 in only 2 weeks of training, according to Strava. Really? Is that something that Strava is like advertising? That's crazy. Tony Young is here, says good morning. What's going on, Tony? Stevie76 says, yo, what's going on? David Sachs says, what's up? Larry Lawrence. My mom is here. Hi, Mom. How are you? And Martha's here as well. Ride Venture, Mark Rain. We got lots of people here. Awesome. I've got a big old glass of Noon. I'm very thirsty. And I'm kind of hungry today, but I think we're going to... So we might talk about a little bit extra about food today because I'm actually very hungry already. And that's because I literally just got in the door from a really long hike with the family. We went up to Pikes Peak State Park again. Not the Pikes Peak in Colorado, but there's a park in Iowa called Pikes Peak State Park. And we were there and hiking for a little while. We were going to take a little bit of a longer loop than one we've taken before. And I kind of had the girls ready for it, mentally ready for it. And then, of course, as we did that loop, I got lost. Or I got the family lost. So we probably walked an extra like 15, 20 minutes on what would have been like maybe a 50-minute hike. So quite a bit longer. I mean, in the big scheme of things, not that much longer, but relatively speaking, a lot longer. And we had to hustle to make it back in time. And I had to carry the baby for quite a bit because she was moving too slow and she had tired legs. And yeah, so I did that. But it was a lot of fun. But now we're back. Didn't really have lunch. We had just snacks in the car on the way back. I didn't bring water for myself. Only had coffee. So like very thirsty when we got back here. But I'm here on time. And I'm happy to see all you guys. Let's see. Jose Carrillo says... Hey, Kofuzi, first time joining the stream. Love the videos. Well, awesome. Glad to have you here, Jose. Thanks for joining us. Cameron McBride says, hope all is well. All is going relatively well. Something that I noticed late on the drive is that, I mean, I've been in Iowa around like election times before. And it's always interesting because it's definitely kind of a bellwether state for a lot of campaigns and also a battleground state to some extent as well. And this year, there's more yard signs than ever. And it's quite overwhelming. It's a lot. Mark Rainey says he's eating ramen and trying to prepare for exactly this. Awesome. Good work. Let's see what else we got here. JC says, oops, got caught watching college football. That's okay. You can watch college football. You can have both on, I guess, depending on where your computer is or where you're watching from. Ryan Pauly says, yo, what's going on? Just ate a pizza. May fall asleep any second. And the way I read that, he wrote, just ate a pizza. I'm assuming that means you just ate an entire pizza. And to that, I will say, well done. Well done. Steve says, I've had 2 easy pace runs this week with heart rate 30 beats per minute higher than normal for that effort. I've had a stressful week at work, but that seems like a big jump. Any ideas? It does seem like a big jump. I would say 2 easy pace runs. Maybe, hopefully you're not getting sick. That's kind of what I would think if that happened to me, where if it was like really easy or I've had a hard time keeping my heart rate lower. That, or if I'm just not getting sleep and the stress is getting to me, it means like my body is having to work extra hard for it. So it's a good time to be a little bit kinder to yourself, I think, physically. So Steve, I'd keep an eye on that. But that tells me that you might have a cold coming on. Bert Legues says, I just ate a whole pack of chocolate waffles. About 1,200 calories according to the package. That's good work. Yeah. My kids, I asked the baby what she wanted for breakfast today. She goes, I would like chocolate milk and maybe a waffle. No, cookies, please. I would like chocolate milk and cookies. And so I gave it to her. Because I'm like, is the waffles that we make really that different than cookies? I mean, I know that they are. But the amount of cookies that she eats versus waffles, and she puts Nutella and syrup on her waffles anyway. So I was like, splitting hairs, really. So I thought I'd go for it. We did it. She was fine. Stevie76 says, I think we're lost. Are the leaves changing? Oh, man, we were lost. It got to the point where I told my family, like, wait here. I'm going to run ahead for a little bit. And if in a minute I don't, like, see what I expect to see, then we're lost. And I ran. And it took me about 30 seconds of running to be like, nope, this is not the right way. So we had to turn back around and double back. So we added a whole bunch of extra time. And the leaves are changing here, at least according to the reactions of everyone else in my family. And there's lots of other like leaf lookers in the area, so the park was pretty busy. It's usually pretty busy on a Saturday. But like my daughter was like, Dad, a red tree. And then the baby would be like, an orange one. And I was like, I'm not going to play that game. Like, why don't you want to play that game? I'm like, because I don't know which one is red. Whichever one you're talking about, I don't know. I can't see it. The orange one, sometimes. I was like, the yellow one, I can see the yellow ones. Show me the yellow ones. And then it was like, yellow tree, yellow tree, yellow tree, like all the time. So it was pretty funny. But I was like, I was just enjoying the hike. I liked the hike. And it was a great time with family. It was nice and shaded. There's like just a beautiful canopy there. And I brought my GoPros. I took some photographs to compare like how the new GoPro does and taking pictures. And so, I was just taking pictures and stuff, and we explored some new parts of that park, which were a lot of fun. So it was a good time, but like looking at the leaves just goes right by me. I don't see it. Martha says, just ate the best almond croissant from a bakery that comes from our Saturday farmers market every week. Even better than pizza. I mean, if you say so. But you know what I love? I love croissant sandwiches that are made in croissants. What is it called when you put like ham and cheese on it and like melt the cheese on a croissant? I mean, it's a melted ham and cheese sandwich, I know, but like, isn't there a term? There's a culinary term for that. It's not something that like some American fast food franchisor invented. So, yeah. Danny J says, we talking about pizza again? I'm at Whole Foods right now eating an acai bowl. Don't tempt me to go back in. I don't think I've ever had an acai bowl. I don't think. But, I mean, don't go back for the Whole Foods pizza. Unless you're going to get it for the $6 a whole pie deal. Then maybe it's worth it. But I'm not sure other than that. You're better off without the pizza. I've been to a variety of different Whole Foods in different parts of the country, and like the offerings sometimes change up a little bit based on what's kind of like more regionally available. But generally, I find there's some pretty decent stuff. I just like to eat stuff from the hot bar. I don't like the cold stuff. The pastas are usually okay, but like pasta on a hot bar, it gets pretty gummy. But I usually find I like stuff that is kind of like in the Indian-ish kind of category. That stuff is usually pretty solid from a hot bar. Chris Hart says, recently picked up a pair of Nike Air Zoom Pegasus 33 Shield for running in inclement Michigan winter weather. However, finding the toe box too small for me. Any recommendations? I mean, in terms of what you could do with the shoe, I would say run in a thinner sock. That's about it. Maybe you can take the insole out, but then I'd worry about the stitching that connects the last to the midsole might cause some chafing. But if you're looking for like another shoe to run in for winter, really like winter inclement weather, I'm trying to think like Hoka. The Challenger comes in a Gore-Tex version, but that one is usually not that comfortable for road running. I think the ride usually, the Saucony ride doesn't always come in a GTX version. It hasn't come in a GTX version the last couple of years, I think. Trying to think of what else I've been really enjoying winter running. Last winter was not that bad, if I remember the Chicago winter correctly. I didn't buy a lot. I mean, I bought a lot of winter shoes, but I didn't run in a bunch of them. I ran a lot in a just like a lot of regular shoes with thicker socks. My favorite winter socks are from Darn Tough. I just buy them from like the skiing section because they come up like over the calf, like just below the knee. Super warm, but designed for, activity. I also have a couple of waterproof socks, and it never really got nasty enough that I needed to try those waterproof socks out that much. Yes, Ride Ventures is a croque monsieur. Yeah, but like a croque monsieur, isn't that like on toast and with bechamel? And a croque madame, yeah. Oh, maybe is the croque madame plus an egg? No, the croque monsieur is ham, and then what is it? Not is it a dame cheese, and then bechamel sauce, or is that the croque madame? I don't know. I'm getting them all confused. They're all delicious. Very delicious. I like those. Chris Hart says, yeah, or another brand of shoe. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. I haven't been thinking about winter shoes. There's a lot of options out there. The Saucony Peregrine comes in a winterized version. I've never run in that one, but that's always one that every year I'm like, oh, I should try that. Let's see. Martha says, Kofuzi, did you happen to see my comment in Strava? I didn't see it yet. I didn't have a lot of time this morning. Basically, once I got back from my cool down bike ride, I had to kind of start loading everybody up to get going. But Martha says, Lev filmed me from behind on the treadmill in the RC Elite. And it causes pronation or extra pronation. And Martha says they need to remove that lateral wedge. That's interesting. I didn't notice it at the pace that I was running. I was running at, I don't know. I don't know what 8K pace really means. So I was running like kind of like 5K-ish pace. I thought it felt great at that. I also really like the Fuel Cell Rebel, which has that kind of wedge thing and that weird like kind of hook shape design. That shape design reminds me of the things that people hold up, like when you're practicing like karate or kickboxing, and you like hold it up, and then someone's supposed to like kick it. That's what they look like, and in the Fuel Cell TC, I didn't notice any of that either. Although I did notice a lot of pronation in my left foot in the Fuel Cell TC. That's usually the shoe video that I look for when I want to show everyone like how bad my left foot pronation is. So maybe there's something to that. I'll have to think about it a little bit more. I know though what was weird about that shoe, and I'll talk about it in the video. That'll come up I think Monday. Is when you put the shoe flat, it's like wobbly. Because like I was trying to film it, and I put the shoe down, and then I go film it, and I'd have to wait because the shoe was still kind of like micro shaking from when I was set down. So like it's not a flat shoe on the bottom. It's like curved in some ways. So like I don't know if that's part of it too. But it's once I make the video, I'll look into it. I don't want to like research it too much and then accidentally hear too many of other people's thoughts on it. But yeah, I'll definitely have to think about that some more. Oh, Neat Penguin, great recommendation. Peg 36 Trail GTX. That is definitely a nice shoe and great for winter weather because it has. I don't think it's like a hardcore trail shoe, but I would say it's more in the commuter kind of category or light trail shoe, but it's got thicker lugs or more gnarlier lugs. And so it does have a wider toe box. And yeah, that would be a great one for winter and snow. Yeah, CJ Cruz says definitely CJ Cruz has a claustrophobia when it comes to tight uppers. Steven Gersdorf says, there's one ultra runner who cuts a hole in his shoe for his little toe. I forget his name. That's crazy. There's some shoes where I wish I could do that, I guess, sometimes. It's not really the shoes. It's my left toe, my pinky toe on my left foot. That one always seems to take more of a beating than other toes. And like whenever I'm in a high mileage week, that toe is the sensitive one. And I'm always like, ooh, I know it hurts. But, let's run for a little bit and then you won't even notice it. That's kind of how I feel. Martha says, this is the same wedge that's on the Rebel. I couldn't wear that shoe because of being between sizes. I just worry about the extra movement over 26.2. That's a good point. I'll have to think about that for sure. Let's see. Mark Ernie says, perhaps you pronate perfectly and everyone else is doing it wrong. I don't think so. I highly doubt that. And then Frankie Lillier says, anybody ever try ice bugs? I'm not sure what ice bugs are. Luis M says, any recommendations on how to freshen up shoes after a few runs or every run to keep them from smelling bad? One of the things that I like to do, I don't do it here because I think it annoys my in-laws when I do that, but I like to leave shoes out. Like if I could like air dry in the sun, like in the summertime, I like to do it in the sun. I didn't do it that much here because I felt like it bothered my in-laws. But that's something that I like to do. Just feel like being outside and letting the sun soak up all that moisture is a good way to like help with odor. Failing that, there's kind of two options. There's like different kinds of powders that you could spray, like on the like sprinkle, like baby powder almost, like on the shoe or in the shoe, that are like basically like desiccants. So like it soaks up the moisture, but also that's what like the moisture is what causes mold. So like the sweat itself is like a little bit stinky usually, but it's like the moisture like sitting in the fabric over time that causes like moldiness, and I think that's what like really makes it super stinky. And so like drying it out is important. And Danny J says take the insole out to let those air out. That makes a lot of sense too. I don't usually do that, but I think that'll definitely help. They also make a product called Sneakerballs, which is one that I really like. I've been using well, I don't regularly use them, but I first started using Sneakerballs probably in like the early 90s. And basically it's like a little air freshener inside a little plastic ball, and you can twist them to make it more or less like open to the air. And basically once you're done with it, just drop with a sneaker ball in each shoe, and it's like having a little air freshener in there. It more masks odors, you know, like air fresheners in a car do, but that's something to do. The other thing to do is if they're like super wet is to put like I mean, people don't really have a lot of newspapers around generally these days, but you could crumple up newspaper inside the shoe too, and that'll like soak up the liquid, and then you have to take out the newspaper and put in fresh newspaper to do that. I do that when they're like really wet and I still want to run in them the next day, but these days I don't really have a lot of newspaper. So it's harder to like do. You could do it with paper towels, but it seems a little bit more wasteful when you do it that way. Steve Ehrenberg also confirming that taking the insoles out is the trick. Mark Ray says Sneakerball, the other name that James A. Naismith considered calling basketball. Is that true? Was sneakers a word when Naismith invented basketball? Mark Rennie also says the other name he was going to call basketball was ball. Now you're making stuff up. That doesn't sound real. Maybe like I could see like handball. Danny J says, before I spend all my money on running shoes, I spend on climbing shoes. I used to use those shoe balls with them, otherwise my climbing pack smelled like I was carrying around a corpse. Yeah, I feel like climbing shoes are super stinky. I don't know what it is about them, but that's like a particularly stinky genre of shoe. Yeah, so CJ Cruz says, would digital newspaper articles work to dry it up? I don't know. I don't think so. Steven Gersdorf says, I never throw them in the washing machine. Does anyone put their shoes in the washer? No, I don't. I've done it once to prove that it worked, and it didn't really affect the shoe in my mind. I mean, I haven't done it like many times. I've only done it the one time, so I don't know how it would hold up over repeat washes. But I remember in college in track, I had like a pair of spikes that I think I had worn them like since high school, and I just didn't want to replace them, and I didn't need to. But they got super stinky because I would wear no socks when I would run in them, and I would have to they were so incredibly stinky, and I would just wash them in the sink with just soapy water, and that would help out a lot, and that was fine. Martha says, my feet never sweat enough to make my shoes smell. I won that particular trait in the genetic lottery. See, we all have our super skills that are like mine are like I have incredibly normal, boring feet, and I can put my foot in like almost any kind of shoe. I guess heel drops don't bother me, I guess is my a more precise way of saying it. I'm just incredibly average, so most clothes just kind of like fit me pretty good, like right off the rack. So like extreme averageness is my super skill. Martha's is not having smelly running shoes, which suits her really well because she runs a lot, so it works out great. Steve Arnberg says, I love the Hyperion Tempo and am not fast enough to need the Hyperion Elite 2, but I'm very tempted. It looks like a fun shoe. It is a fun shoe. It's expensive though. I don't know. I need to put more miles in it to see if is it worth all that? But because as much as I like the Hyperion Tempo, I'm actually not sure if I can run in the Hyperion Elite 2 for a marathon. I have to see. I mean, these days, I'm particularly worried about stiffer foams because my knee still hurts a little bit. So, I think I'm a little bit gun shy on some of those stiffer foams. But once you get moving, it softens up, or it's the right level of stiffness for running at speed. So it's fun. CJ Cruz says, my superpower is I look like I can run very fast and long, but I don't, so it's a good deterrent. That's funny. Recycle on Wednesday says, when my shoes get wet, I stuff them with brown packing paper. Oh, that you sometimes get with the stuff you buy online. That's a great one. That's perfect. That makes sense. Yeah. Steven Gerjor says, $225 for the New Balance RC. Yeah, that's also expensive for it. I mean, it's quite an incredible shoe, but still anything in the $200 and up category is just a crazy amount of money to pay for a shoe. But I've paid it before. Let's see. Stevie 76 celebrating a touchdown of some sort. My wife and I were talking about today college football a little bit, which we weren't really talking about college football because we wouldn't know, the conversation would end really fast. We don't have anything to talk about. But my wife was commenting on she's really surprised how many people in Iowa love the Hawkeyes, even though they didn't go to Iowa. And I think because she went to UNI, so they're not a rival per se, but it's a different school. And I was like, well, the shirts that you get, they say Iowa on them. So, Midwesterners love to broadcast where they're from. And so it's a way of representing where you're from. Totally understandable. And I think that it's because of the football thing. There's a complete dissociation from academic learning, Iowa, the university, and Iowa, the football team. And it's even if you're the type of person that hates college boys, and people that think that people that go to college are better than, or think that they're better than you, even if you completely resent the educated as elites, you might still love Iowa football because there's no connection to it for a lot of people. And so I don't know. There's no point to that. It was a weird conversation we were having about how many people love Iowa and Iowa football. I don't know how many people love Iowa, the university. I think I hold it in very high esteem. They have a very competitive law school, and I think it's a very good university. But people love the football team. Dominic Schrott says, what am I doing well? That I never get my Achilles tendons injured. I don't do particular prevention exercises. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. Luis Becerra says rather than spend $225 on a pair of shoes, he'd rather buy 4 pairs of SL20s. That's the word of the day. Can you get 4 pairs of SL20s for $225? Maybe. Actually, you might be able to. I think we need a new word of the day though too. We gotta figure it out. I'm not sure what it's gonna be. Let's keep an eye on what the next word of the day is gonna be. And I think what I need to do when we do word of the day. I gotta figure out like a like some sort of like graphic overlay that goes on over here that flashes like word of the day. That'd be kind of fun. I gotta work on this a little bit more. I gotta figure it out better. Frank LaHoolery says, the year I lived in Iowa was 84 to 85, and everybody loved the Bears. That's funny, because here, there's some Bears fans, but a lot of people here, as far as professional football goes, are Vikings or Packers fans. There's not a lot of Bears fans around here. Even here, we're like very close to the Illinois border. I mean, we're also close to the Wisconsin border, too. And I mean, if you go further north, we're not as close right where we are, but an adjacent state is Minnesota. So like it makes sense. But it's interesting. There's just not a lot of Bears fans here. Ryan Bradley said, "Hi all. Mentioned yesterday I picked up the On Cloud Boom. Just did a second long run today, and wow, very responsive shoe. I know Kofuzi, you're not a huge fan of the On, but check them out." I mean, I think that's great, Ryan. I think I'm still probably not going to do it. No, please don't take offense to that. It's nothing against you. But what I am interested in are 2 things that I saw. One, Jake Riley is from Jake Riley, but I'll talk about that second. The first is that recycled shoe from On, because it doesn't have clouds. And when I first tried the Cloud Flow, I said, it'll be interesting. And this was a while ago. Like over a year ago, I think at this point. And I was like, it'll be interesting when On finally pivots away from the cloud system. I think that's when it's going to take off. And it'll be a time remember when On had all these clouds and like that was like their gimmick? Remember that? That was such a weird time in that shoes company's history. I think that's going to happen. But the recycled On doesn't have clouds, as far as I could tell. It just looks like a regular outsole. So like that is one shoe that I'm definitely interested in trying. The second one that I'm interested in, I don't think I'm going to get it, but I'm keeping an eye on it, is Jake Riley, who's an On sponsor at an athlete, had a pair of casual On shoes that didn't have clouds. They actually kind of look like Decker's Lab or Decker's shoes. Decker's is the parent company of Hoka and Teva and one other company, and also Decker's Lab, but one other company too, I think. I can't remember. And they're just big, chunky, bulky, kind of like fun, kind of like running casual / dad shoe kind of put together. And that's what that's what Decker's Lab shoes look like casual Hokas kind of, or street Hokas. And then, but this On shoe look kind of like that, or like a giant K-Swiss, which again makes a lot of sense for the demographic that On usually appeals to. So like that shoe is pretty interesting to me, and I like that because I feel like On shoes look beautiful, and I would really be very interested in an On casual shoe. But the clouds, I'm gonna wait until maybe a little bit longer, or maybe I'll try an on trail shoe, or maybe one that's like super cushion. But the one that I had, it was firm. It was meant for speed days, and I just didn't like the speed board and all that combination. It just seemed to really irritate my quads a lot. And I was like, this shoe, when I did the review, I felt like I was answering like a really detailed customer survey. Like, this product makes me less likely to try this brand's products in the future. But I am interested in the Cloud Boom. I've heard good things about it, like from you, Ryan, and from lots of other people. It's an interesting idea. I am very curious about what On does. I love their clothes. Their running attire is just beautiful. But I would probably never get any because I don't run in the shoes. Benoit has an interesting question. Hey guys, anyone donate blood before and notice a huge drop in their running performance? How long does that last? My heart rate keeps decoupling. It sucks. That's interesting. And I've heard stories. You hear stories about people like when they get blood, like a blood transfusion, like it doesn't feel like all they did was get more blood. They feel like they got something like more than that, like someone's personality or certain things like that. I wonder if like anyone in here who's like a runner, like if when you give blood and someone gets it, you're like, ooh, I can breathe today. Like I wonder if like people notice, like if someone like regularly needs transfusions, God forbid, but if someone regularly and you're like I got someone who's really sedentary today gave me blood, and like some days you're like, ooh, an athlete, I got some good blood today. Like I wonder if there's like anything like that. New word of the day, definitely, if you want an early sound effect, is pizza. I mean, I think that's a very easy one. Maybe I just need different emojis that I can have pop up every time, like different words. I think that'd be fun. I need like a Jim Cramer board where I could just like pound on things and make them appear. I've seen the ones that they make for like live streamers, and it looks like a little like kiosk, and you just go beep beep beep, and there's like 12 buttons or something. That's not enough, and it's not fun enough. I want something big and like tactile, like that, like Mad Money board. That's what I want. Martha says, I had a few labs and blood draws on Tuesday and no effects. Yeah. Yeah. Danny J says, just had blood taken for some labs and interested to see if the long run tomorrow suffers. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Anthony Johnson says, the Atreyu Racer, is that a cheaper carbon fiber plated shoe? I like it so far. I like it just the way it is. It crumples in a nice way that I feel like is soft and absorbs lots of impact. And the carbon fiber plate springs you right back out. It works for me. The upper, I think, works for me, and I like it. I'm a little bit concerned that it's like a racing slick on the bottom, but other than that, because I don't know how that affects the longevity, and I don't know how long that thing's gonna last, because it's still, the one that I have is still a test version. It's not like a final production version, so like we'll have to see. Danny J says, like, do some blood doping. Yeah, I want some of SJD's blood. Yeah, can you imagine that? I mean, that'd be kind of fun, though, if, like, it would be a really expensive, like, kind of, like, I guess, holiday, I guess. But imagine if you could, like, do that and be like, yeah, I got Seth James Moore's blood in some sort of weird experiment, and now I can run 14ers all day. Like, that'd be fun. I mean, even if it lasted only, like, a day, it'd be a really expensive and unhealthy kind of like leisurely pursuit, but that'd be kind of wild. Imagine if you could like kind of like body switch like that. That's kind of morbid, but it's a peculiar thought. Yeah, Frank Lahullier says it kind of doesn't look like the artist's going to get to the 5,000. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. I'll take it. Let me take another. I'm gonna take a look at it too. But someone had commented that like it didn't look good. So like I hope that it like sees the light of day. Philip Bourne says, I donate blood every 8 to 9 weeks. Performance drops usually somewhere between 1 to 3 weeks. Oh, definitely helps to keep the first week really, really easy. Yeah, I mean, I would think that because like you've got like less of blood volume, so that's going to affect you. Just kind of like if you give blood and then like go like drink a beer, that's going to affect you just like very differently than normally just drinking a beer. So, I didn't realize it would last 3 weeks, because I was like, how much longer does it take for the body to replace that kind of volume? I don't know. I actually don't know. My brother-in-law donates plasma for money, I think. I don't know if he still does that or not, but he did that for a long time. And I was like, that still is a thing? I was like, I thought they stopped doing that because it encouraged people to lie on like those blood questionnaire things, and then it was transmitting diseases and stuff. But I think he still, I don't know if he still does it or not or what, but it's an interesting idea. Martha says, my hematocrit is always slightly above normal range. I think it's from running plus living at high elevation. Maybe I should donate blood. Yeah, I would love to do a lot of running and live at elevation to feel that. I mean, I guess like the closest thing to have that kind of like blood vacation, that's a horrible term, but to have that blood vacation would be to go like do an altitude camp for like 4 to 6 weeks. Is that how? Because that's how long it would take, at least that long, right? because it takes you like 3 or 4 days just to like acclimate, so you're not like huffing and puffing. I think if the altitude is high enough, and then I think it takes a while for your body's like erythropoietin. I can never say it. Your body's natural EPO to start like cranking up a little bit. Ivic Tech says, hello from Sydney, Australia. Ended buying the SL20 from your review and Earbuds. Great review, exactly how I expressed it. Oh, that's awesome. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. I love that shoe. Thanks for tuning in, Ivic Tech. Let's see. Chen Zhao says, planned a 10 by 800 meter challenge pace for today. That's a big workout. But my right calf decided to cramp when I was drinking water in the kitchen in the morning. That made me sounds like you didn't have enough water yesterday too. So did you do the workout anyway, or no? You scrapped it, or are you gonna do it tomorrow? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Arnold Ellen has got 2 new blisters on the long run this morning. That sucks. I had a pretty big blister on my foot, and I usually don't get blisters too much, but I had one develop on my right foot, like kind of like right behind the ball of the foot towards the arch, and it looked gross, but it didn't bother me, and it was kind of like enough that my daughter would see my foot and be like, "What is that?" Like at my foot, I'm like, "It's that blister," and like the next week she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It's still the blister." But it was like changing colors, and it came off today. And it was fine, but it was kind of gross. It's always gross. It's always gross. Yeah. I was gonna follow up that with a question to the audience here, but I was like, no, let's leave it there. Let's leave it. MC1796 is here. It says, hey, Kofuzi, what's going on, MC? Good to see you. Matty Boy says, I'm looking to buy some new earbuds. I have the Samsung Buds now, and the battery life is terrible, and they function pretty bad. Do you have any suggestions? I love the AirPod, what is it? The smaller ones. Not the regular AirPods, but the other ones. I love those. Those work great. I have an iPhone, I have an Apple Watch, so like those all work great together. There are, and I like noise canceling. Like right now, like I don't want to run in earbuds that don't have noise canceling. It's not so much that I want the noise canceling, but noise canceling earbuds also have like audio pass through. So I feel like you get to listen to music, but it also keeps you aware of like the surroundings, you know, so like it like pumps in ambient noises too. I mean, you could turn that off on a lot of the noise canceling or active noise canceling earbuds, but I like to leave it on unless it's windy though. And when it's super windy, it's nice to just turn that ambient noise off, and then you can just hear your music and you don't have to crank it up as loud. So I've been loving them. The new AirPod, I'm drawing a blank on what the name of them are, but I like those a lot. They're expensive. I'm also currently testing 2 other brands of earbuds that have active noise canceling with like the ambient pass through, and they're both decent, but they're also much cheaper. So that video will be coming out pretty soon. One is the Pamu Quiet, and the other one is the Sound Library. I unboxed it for you guys the other day in mail time. The other is the Pamu. The other one is Taltronic Sound Liberty 94. I think the Pamu one is better, but both are good. The Taltronics one is $52. I think it's for sale now. But I'll be making a video. I was gonna do a video for each of them individually, but since I got them both kind of at the same time, I'm just gonna do a head-to-head. So I think that'll be a little bit more interesting. But both of those I recommend. Pamu is hard because as much as they're good, they always do stuff on like Indiegogo or whatever it is that they're doing it on, and so it's just like I hate buying stuff that way, where you're like paying into like a crowdfunding thing. This just is very disagreeable to me. But their product is really good. It way outperforms it for its price. So it's hard. But those are 2 ones that I also enjoy. Also the Jabra Elite. The Jabras are fantastic. I left my Jabras in Chicago, so the 75T have been great. I've been thinking about like getting a pair of active ones too, but like I run in the 75T all the time and it's great. So I don't need the act. I haven't felt a need for the active part. JP says, we tested the Clifton Edge at Camp Gladiator today. Hated it. Firmer than I expected, and my shins now hurt. Oh, that's surprising. That's crazy. Sorry that you have hurt shins too. That's like super annoying. Oh, interesting. Gary L says, I enjoyed your review of Audible. I prefer music or podcasts, but it was good to know. Thanks, Gary. Hey, what's going on, Gary? Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Audible. And like right now, I've been looking at a lot of Garmin watches, trying to figure out which like Garmin watch I'd like to test next. But while they all have, well, not all of them, the ones that I'm looking at have music, it usually means like Spotify integration. And it's not as clear as to whether there is an option to get audiobooks on them. So that's where I'm like a little bit like hesitant. Danny J says, Jaybirds are expensive, but Rich Roll likes them a lot. I trust anything he endorses. You know, I was listening to, I listen to Rich Roll, right, I guess kind of regularly. And like the one I was listening to yesterday, they were talking about running either like barefoot or like, what were they called? Like the Vivo Fit or something shoes. They're like super minimalist shoes. And I'm like, I tend to like really trust him. He's a phenomenal endurance athlete. He's a pretty wise dude, has lots of insights when it comes to training and stuff. But like I feel like there's a part of like the trail running community that like gets into that like born to run category, and I'm like, I can't follow you guys down that way. I don't know. I'm not sure. So like I do like whenever he recommends something, he also loves On shoes as well, and I'm just like, I want to follow you there, Rich, but I'm not sure. That's kind of how I feel about some of the stuff that he has on the show. Let's see. Maddie Boy says, I like the ones that include the wraparound ear holder things. I hate when they feel like they're falling out of my ear socket. Yeah, I mean, that's why I really do like the Powerbeats Pro, but they don't, I feel like they should at that price point have pass-through audio or noise canceling, and they don't. And so it's a disappointment. And mine, I don't know if I got I may have got like a kind of bad unit. Like they don't charge reliably. And so a lot of times I'll go to like put them in and one ear is 100% and the other ear is 0. Or usually it's 99 and 1. So that's like the only, I have a hard time recommending those because they're so expensive too. But speaking of like Taotronics, there's a lot of brands that make those where it's the way that I love them. It's like the true wireless earbuds, and they have the ear loop, and they have tactile buttons like on the side, not in the way that makes you push them in this way. I don't like that, but I like the one you have to push the buttons this way. But they never seem to last very, like the cheaper ones that exist out there, the ones that are like the $40 or $60 category of that kind, they never last longer than a month. It's the charging mechanism always like screws up. So Gary L says, I have cheap Nakfire buds, $40, but clear sound. GameSky on YouTube does great earbud reviews. GameSky? Let's say it's GameSky. I'm not aware of that channel. I'll have to check it out. Thanks. Rainrunner says, update, just ordered a pizza. That's good work. That's good work. Yeah. Morton Lilang says, I'm using the Koss Porta Pro wireless. The in-ear doesn't work for me, and the bass is absolutely amazing. They look very 80s. But that was sort of my peak time. Hashtag old part. That's awesome. That's great. So they look like the styrofoam cushion on the ears? That's awesome. That's awesome. One of my favorite pair of earbuds that I ever used they actually belonged to my wife. And they were Sony. They came with like a Sony I want to say a Walkman. But it must have been like when the Walkman brand was applied to like CD players. I think that's when she had it. and they folded in the middle, so they would fold down real small, but they would go over your head like this, and then they had like instead of looking like AirPods, if you put like AirPod or the earpods, turn them sideways, they kind of like, instead of like the speaker firing in at your ears, they kind of like fired this way, and then they stuck inside your ear, but inside your ear. And like they were just super light. They were like featherweight. Like the cable was heavier than the earbud, and they sounded great. And I just loved them. I kept stealing them from her, but she would keep stealing them back. But that was like one of my favorite pair of earbuds. But this was, it's lighter because it didn't have to have like a battery and like all the stuff to be able to communicate with the phone and all that. But it was still a good set of earbuds. I did enjoy those. Rain Runner giving us the update on her pizza. And I think it's not just, she's not like, I think Mark asked her about it, but the Rain Runner's update on the pizza. She got a large pizza. Half pepperoni, half broccoli and red onion. Oh. Broccoli and red onion, that sounds tasty. And a Caesar salad on the side. Nice work. What is everyone else having? Yeah. Let's see. Franklin Hoolier says, it would seem weird that Amazon wouldn't push their music/Audible API out on all devices as much as possible. I mean, maybe they are, but maybe Garmin is having Spotify pay them to be able to be on there. I don't know what the exact arrangement is with that. Like, for example, like you can't have, like, I think it's like intentionally closed. Like, while there is a Garmin like Connect store, like I don't think that other music streaming services are like quote unquote allowed on it. So there's only certain, they're regulating that or like controlling it pretty tightly, I think. Neat Penguin says, anyone else run with anything from JLabs for music? I had a pair of JLabs that I reviewed a while ago. It was like normal. I remember it being pretty normal for the price. I had a pair of like in-ear, like true wireless earbuds. They were pretty small. They were okay. They weren't noise canceling. They were, I guess, passive noise canceling, which I feel like is the biggest kind of like BS marketing term. But yeah. Eric DeRed said, I agree with you on the Powerbeats Pro 100%. Yeah, thanks. I just think that it was a product that I looked forward to so much. And it was just kind of like, these are good, but they should be better than this. Ivic Tech S, will you do a Zoom Fly 3 versus Endorphin Speed / Pro? I want a carbon plated one. Which one would you recommend? I'm not going to do that video because I don't have the Zoom Fly 3 anymore. So I don't like to do like a versus video by memory, especially if it's been a long time since I ran in the shoe. But I would say that I think the Zoom Fly 3 and the Endorphin Speed line up pretty well. And in fact, that like the two shoes do remind me of each other quite a bit. But the Endorphin Speed, if I remember correctly, is lighter than the Zoom Fly 3. And then the Pro, I think, is a pretty fantastic shoe. But for me, I don't enjoy it as much as I do the Speed. I think it depends on like what kind of paces you're going to be planning on running in it. For me, the Endorphin Pro felt like it felt a little bit on the stiff side. I felt like I didn't load, I wasn't getting like the benefit of the carbon fiber plate until I was running like downhill. And then I think there was just more forces involved. And then I was like, ooh, I feel this a lot now. So like that's like my main takeaway from the Endorphin Pro. Let's see. Giuseppe Angelucci says, I have Soundpeats True Engine 2 and it works great. I'm trying to think, I've done stuff from Soundpeats before, I think. I don't think I'm familiar with that one. Interesting. Frank Lahullier says, I sometimes just use one earphone Bluetooth for listening to audiobooks. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's just spoken word, so you don't need like it to be like full, like, Dolby surround sound experience. So definitely I could see doing that. Danny J says, and then we'll probably do this and then we probably got to get going. Danny J says, I've noticed recently that I run much better when I don't have earbuds in and can actually hear my feet on the ground. Yeah, I definitely understand people that say that. And I was listening to Lindsay Hines' podcast today, and she had some coaches on there. I forget their names, but they coach or are friends with Amelia Boone. I think it was like the most recent one that she just put out. And like the two coaches, it's a husband and wife team, and the husband is like he sometimes listens to music, but not on like a hard workout, because if he had it on a hard workout, he wouldn't hear it anyway because he'd be focusing on other stuff, and he wants to be focusing on other stuff. And the wife was like, I usually have earbuds in, and she enjoys like sometimes like it's in there but she doesn't hear it, you know what I mean, like it's on but it's like background noise. And other times she enjoys having like the extra motivation that music can sometimes provide. And I have earbuds in every single run, but I guess what I do usually is for easy runs, which are most of my days, I listen to like spoken word, podcast, audiobooks. But for hard workouts, I'll have music on. And during today's, I did the 8K time trial or virtual race. I was really frustrated because I had the Apple Watch on to listen to music, and I had my like Kofuzi Run Club playlist, and it's really hard to like pick a song on the Apple Watch. So I just usually just turn on the list and hit the shuffle button. But it kept doing that, and it kept giving me like the same 3 songs like over and over again. So like as I'm trying to do this 8K run, and I was struggling today, I kept like fast forwarding because like the same song would come up over and over. So I was pretty frustrated about that. And there was a specific song that I really wanted to listen to, which was the song from Trolls 2, the Trolls World Tour original soundtrack. The yodel rap. I just love that song. Like it gets me fired up, even though it's from Trolls World Tour and it's about trolls that yodel. But it's just an amazing song. The beat's just incredible. And so I was trying to like find it, but I was like running and like looking at it, and like I don't know why I was squinting, but I was kind of like squinting, maybe a sweat in my eyes, and I just couldn't see it. So I just kept hitting the shuffle button and trying to get it to get there, and I just couldn't get it. And yeah. And I ended up today with like 18 seconds off my 8K PR, which is only the second time I've run an 8K before. So, or raced that distance. So I was off by my PR by a little bit, and I wonder if I could have found the yodel rap, if that would have gotten me past that 18, if that would have given me 18 seconds. Because not only would it have motivated me further because I got the song I wanted, but then also like I wouldn't have spent all that time fidgeting like with the watch, so we'll never know, I guess. But I would say I don't know if it would have been worth 18 seconds, but it would have been closer. A lot closer. All right, thanks, guys. I'm going to leave it there for today. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about the Bondi 7 in tomorrow morning's video. So keep an eye out for that. And then we'll do another live stream in the afternoon, 3 p.m., same time. Thanks, everyone, for checking in and making the conversation in the chat awesome. I had a lot of fun. Hope you had fun, too. Be safe out there, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.